NXT Battleground.
Tonight, for the first time ever, NXT comes to UFC's Apex Arena with NXT Battleground and special guest host, Sexy Red.
Drum roll, please.
The main event matches.
Yes, here we go.
This is gonna be epic.
Prepare for battle.
With gold on the line, who will make history at NXT Battleground?
Now, for the first time ever, NXT comes to UFC's Apex Arena with NXT Battleground.
Tonight, for the first time ever, NXT comes to UFC's Apex Arena with NXT Battleground and special guest host, Sexy Red.
Drum roll, please.
The main event matches.
Yes, here we go.
This is gonna be epic.
Prepare for
Then, now, forever. Together.
And now, WWE presents NXT Battleground Countdown.
The home of WrestleMania 41. But today, just off the Las Vegas Strip, history will be made. Because for the first time ever, a WWE event emanates from the UFC Apex. Temperatures in Vegas shot past double digits, and the heat will be felt inside the Apex as 5 NXT titles and a trip to the underground are on the line. Welcome on in, everybody, to Countdown to NXT Battleground. I'm Megan Morant. He is Sam Roberts. And Sam, Vegas is in for a special night.
You kidding me? A special night? How does NXT follow up, stand, and deliver? How about bringing a premium live event for the very first time to the UFC Apex? Not just any premium live event, a premium live event that has the entire industry breaking open to try to become a part of it. I can't wait.
Sam, we are in a new era here in WWE, and that continues with NXT. But I don't know if there's ever been a premium live event in NXT with the opportunity to make as much history as Battleground has tonight.
I would agree with that. I mean, look at what you've got. Not only are we in the UFC Apex, but we've got an inaugural champion to be crowned. We've got a challenger from another promotion in a world championship match. We've got a straight-up fight, and we've got an NXT debut in the main event. There's going to be so much history. You're going to be tripping over it tonight.
Well, Roxanne Perez has been obsessed with history of WWE for 9 years. Ever since she was 13 years old, she's had her eyes set on becoming the NXT champion, and she has achieved that goal. The champ arrives at the Apex, but Sam, she's facing an unfathomable opponent tonight.
Unfathomable is right. What do you get when the TNA Knockouts champion walks into the UFC Apex to challenge the NXT Women's Champion? Jordynne Grace is in Las Vegas.
There are stars all over Vegas, and the host of Battleground is one herself, one of rap and hip-hop's biggest. The hood's hottest princess, Sexy Red, is your Battleground host.
And we know they are in the building. We just saw them walk in tonight. The NXT Women's Championship is on the line. Roxanne Perez defends against TNA Knockouts champion, Jordynne Grace.
All ego, got all he wanted in his contract, including this matchup against the NXT champion Trick Williams in Ethan Page's NXT NXT debut.
And speaking of getting everything that they wanted, the same could be said about the Good Brothers, as tonight, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows challenge for the NXT Tag Team Championship against Nathan Frazier and Axiom.
Can anyone stop the North American champion Obafemi? Well, these two men will try. No champion's advantage as Femi defends his North American title against Joe Coffey and Wes Lee.
Megan, you were talking about history tonight. It's guaranteed to get made as for the first time NXT crowns a women's North American champion. All one female is going to have to do is win this 6-person ladder match.
For the first time on an NXT Premium Live event, NXT goes to the underground. The rules are simple. Tap or nap. Only way to win is by tap out or referee stoppage. It's Lola Vice versus Shayna Baszler in NXT Underground.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. Look, it's clear that both of you are looking for a fight. You can do this at Battleground.
Nah! NXT Underground!
Stay humble. Enjoy the grind. Those are all words I've heard since coming to NXT. And they may be true for everyone else, but I'm not everyone else. Lola Vice is a superstar in every form.
Let me tell you a little secret.
Lola Vice, the breakout superstar!
I am the complete package. I've got knockout power in my hands and feet, and I look hot doing it. No one, nadie, can handle Lola Vice.
My star shines bright no matter who throws shade. I brought Shayna Baszler back to NXT, a place she dominated. I never imagined a woman with all of her accolades, someone I looked up to as an inspiration, would be jealous of me. But now I get it.
Karafuda clutch! This partnership certainly is over!
Somewhere along the way, people have forgotten about my dominance. Clutching people out, snapping bones, crushing faces. The most feared woman in NXT.
It doesn't matter how brave you think you are to stand up to me. You're gonna get smacked in the face with a hard dose of reality, and I am that reality.
The woman who has held the NXT Women's Championship longer than anyone. The first woman to cross over from MMA to pro wrestling. If it wasn't for me, Lola Vice wouldn't be one of the hottest prospects in the game. She'd be shaking her ass on some street corner. This Sunday in the Underground is the reintroduction of the Queen of Spades.
Shayna Baszler in the Underground? You have one of two options. Either I tap you out, or I knock you out. You choose, bitch!
Lola Vice, I'll be rooting for you Sunday at the Battleground. Let's go for the knockout.
Shayna's got way more experience than this girl. I think she's gonna wipe the floor with her.
Shayna Baszler's gonna lock that arm around Lola Vice's neck and seeing her life flash before her eyes.
I think Lola's gonna get the KO, you know? I think it's gonna end devastatingly.
Shayna's the best MMA crossover performer, but I'm gonna be the greatest superstar to cross over from MMA to the WWE.
At the UFC Apex, after I tear you apart, you'll find out there's only one cage fighter in wrestling.
Sunday at Battleground, I'm going viral. Because I'm gonna knock Shayna Baszler out, and then it's time to dance.
No one has held the NXT Championship longer than this woman. Shayna Baszler doesn't back down from a fight. In fact, Sam, she was born in the underground.
You bet she was, but look at this. Lola Vice walking in to the UFC Apex. She's made no secret. Lola wants to dance. And Megan, that is bad news for Shayna Baszler.
Well, it could be good news for Booker T because no one loves a Lola Vice dance more than Booker T. As we welcome you on back into the studio, I tell you what, I can't think of a better environment for this NXT Underground matchup to take place. You see, the UFC Apex is the only structure in the world designed specifically for fighting. And Sam, the rules are simple: tap or nap. That has to play in Shayna Baszler's favor.
Well, you would think, but it's not like Lola Vice doesn't also come from this world. You're right. That neither Lola nor Shayna adopted the underground. They were both born into it. This is Bane that we're talking about, but this is Bane versus Bane. The question is, who has mastered the world of both? Who has mastered the world of both pro wrestling and MMA? All you have to do is go through history, not just history in MMA, but history in NXT. And the dominant career that Shayna Baszler had as NXT Women's Champion, you haven't seen anything like it. The fact that Shayna Baszler has not just gone into octagons, but elimination chambers, and gone through woman after woman after woman. Lola Vice is the type of competitor that maybe Shayna Baszler hasn't really competed with yet in the WWE, but she's competed with just about everybody else.
Well, Shayna Baszler is the only woman on the planet who was ever able to get Ronda Rousey to tap out, but the underground has awoken something new in Lola Vice. It's brought out this monster in this WWE superstar. Should Shayna, how does she combat for what we've seen out of Lola since she's been in the underground?
I think that people were confused when Lola Vice first arrived in NXT. Lola Vice seemed like a sports entertainer that liked to have a good time. People forgot about the world that she came from. People forgot about that MMA background, but that MMA background is huge. Do you know why Lola Vice dances so much? Because nobody can stop her from dancing. That's a dangerous thing. How many times do you hear, oh, all she does is dancing. Oh, I can't wait to stop her from dancing. But nobody's done it yet because Lola Vice is a dangerous weapon. And I'm not sure people realize how dangerous she really is.
Well, people may have forgotten that Lola Vice is a dangerous weapon, but we heard Shayna Baszler say it earlier in that video package that people have forgotten how dangerous she was, that she's held this NXT Women's Championship longer than anybody has in history. Is Lola Vice overlooking and underestimating Shayna Baszler?
I don't know is the short answer, but very possibly. I mean, Lola Vice has a lot of ego. Lola Vice thinks very highly of herself. Lola Vice likes to celebrate herself. Lola Vice, you could see it, walked into the Apex looking around like this was her moment. Here is one thing I can tell you about Shayna Baszler. She did not come to the Apex to give an NXT superstar an opportunity. This is not about Shayna Baszler helping the next generation. This is about Shayna Baszler doing exactly what she just promised to do, reminding people how dangerous she is. How often is Josh Barnett wrong about fighters? Seldom to never. And he's going for Shayna Baszler in this match.
Well, Shayna Baszler, the first MMA star to transfer over to WWE, but can she be the best to do it, as Lola Vice looks to do something similar in NXT Underground tonight? I want to take you back to what happened earlier in the week on NXT. Luke Gallows,
Carl
and Carl
Anderson.
Anderson,
Too
the
sweet
Good
me.
Brothers of the OC, they have been viciously attacking Axiom and Frazier for weeks now. Sam, they said the attacks won't stop until they get their championship opportunity.
They told them the attacks won't stop. You had to know this was coming. If I'm Axiom and Nathan Frazier, I understand it's one thing to be champions and to have your faces out there, but the last thing that I'm going to do when the Good Brothers are after me is to do an autograph signing for the NXT universe. These two should be in protection, strategizing for how they're going to keep the NXT championship. Because when you got Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows out there on a mission, it's bad news.
Well, they certainly have a plan set. They want to damage the tag team champions before they face them. Our own Sarah Schreiber caught up with the Good Brothers ahead of Battleground.
Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, we just watched your attack on Nathan and Axiom
But Sarah, wasn't that too sweet?
Oh, she's gonna try and be all unbiased, but she knows it was sweet. Besides, Sarah, it's not like we didn't warn them.
Sweet Sarah, we told them anytime, anywhere. I don't know how we could have been much clearer.
We saw Nathan and Axiom out amongst the WWE universe, taking pictures, signing autographs, and we realized there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. So like the gentlemanly good brothers that we are, we paid them a little visit.
Yeah, just a quick little brotherly hello to let them know what's in store for Battleground.
And Sarah, we're not monsters. We won't pick on them anymore after tonight, because after we have those NXT tag team titles, we'll have literally no use for the masked hoot and the quick brother, right?
Big OG, put it up high. Give it to me. Sarah, you're not allowed to do it.
The Good Brothers wanted an opportunity, and they have the champion's attention now. There's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. The tag titles are on the line. It's Gallows and Anderson versus Axiom and Frazier tonight at Battleground. When we talk about the Good Brothers, we are talking about a duo that has won gold and held championships all around the world. But one thing that, Sam, they have never done before is hold those NXT titles. They've been begging for this opportunity. Now they have finally reached it. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide for Axiom and Frazier. And Gallows and Anderson have certainly sent their message to the champs.
You know, they've been accused of being disrespectful, dishonorable, all kinds of nasty things. But did you hear Gallows and Anderson? They're ready to let Frazier and Axiom off the hook. Once they win the tag team championship, those two have nothing to worry about anymore. It might be good news for them.
Well, it's easy to let them off the hook when Axiom and Frazier will not be competing in this matchup at 100%, especially after what happened. That's certainly going to play a role.
It may play a role, but that's part of the game that we're playing. They said, as long as you have those titles, we won't leave you alone. So what did Frazier and Axiom do? Put up a big sign. Here's where we are. Come get us. And the Good Brothers came and got them. Look, I not too long ago, I had Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows on my podcast, and they said the thing that they love more than anything, more than their families, is hanging with the boys. They love the boys, and that means getting on shows. And you know how you make sure that you get on shows? You win championships. And that, to me, is the motivation of Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Look, they're fun guys. You just said they're contagious. Their fun is contagious, but they are absolutely brutal when they get in the ring. And you're right, they haven't held the NXT Tag Team Championship. But this is a tag team that has run roughshod around the globe, inside and outside of WWE. Tonight they look to do something that somehow they haven't done yet, and it may be at the expense of Nathan Frazier and Axiom.
Well, Axiom and Nathan Frazier, they have worked very hard to get these titles. It didn't come right away,
No.
Sam. They had to work to earn these titles and get them off the Wolf Dogs at Stand and Deliver. And
Night after Stand and Deliver, the NXT
night-
after,
yes,
it
the
took
night
them
after.
2 times.
2 times.
To get them off the Wolf Dogs. But you know what that tells you about Frazier and Axiom? That you can't look past, is that they learn. This is a tag team that has consistently learned. With every step that they have taken, they figured out how to do it better and better and better. I don't know many tag teams that are more unpredictable when it comes to offense, that are more unpredictable when it comes to figuring out how to wrap up matches. And you're right. It's good that you brought up the Wolf Dogs, because that's a tag team that when you look at them next to Axiom and Nathan Frazier, you go, these two don't have a shot. But who are the tag team champions?
Axiom and Frazier.
Exactly.
Well, the first ever NXT North American Women's Championship will be on the line tonight. The first NXT North American Women's Champion will be crowned in a ladder match. And yesterday, the NXT Superstars arrived in Las Vegas on the precipice of history.
Finally made it to the hotel in Vegas. It is Saturday, the day before I potentially make history. Not really sure what I'm gonna be up to today, but first things first, I'm going to be jumping on the beds. I just have to, so let's jump on the beds. Throwback to my acrobatics and tumbling days. Even though I was never a flyer, I always wanted to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1. Pretty solid bed. Okay, I have one more trick for you guys. Glasses had to come off. Hopefully I don't kick the ceiling. Let's go. Ta-da! Okay, those are all my tricks. I hope you enjoyed. Now I have to physically and mentally get ready for tomorrow. It is such a big day, and I'm so nervous, but I'm so excited. Okay. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Y'all join me on this business trip to Vegas, baby. Now, we here for one reason and one reason only, but this sun is really killing it, but I'm a Florida baby, so we gonna get into it. The first thing I did was touch base with my people. I love when they're able to come see me because they remind me of my purpose. They remind me how far I've come. And if becoming the first women's North American champion puts a bigger smile on their face, then I'ma do it. Winning this title means Jada Parker is permanently a part of history. Winning this title means it's another brick to the empire that I plan on building. And when I become the first North American women's champion, that means I become everything you said I would never be. And baby, Jada Parker is undeniable.
Well, they both have the opportunity tonight to make history. Sam, it's interesting to watch the different strategies that these two employ just 24 hours ahead of their chance at becoming a champion.
I gotta tell you, with every video, I had a new favorite for this championship match. I mean, I couldn't believe what Sol Ruca is capable of, even in a hotel room. And Jada Parker already sneaker shopping like a champion. And let me tell you something, sneaker shopping can be a huge motivator in a championship match.
All right, well, we still have so much more to discuss here on Countdown to NXT Battleground, including this matchup that we'll dive into when we come back. Roxanne Perez, the Prodigy, defends the NXT Championship against the TNA Knockouts champion, Jordynne Grace.
They say a fate's coming to Scotland. And it's not your average scrap.
Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship live from Glasgow, Scotland.
You know where to find me.
Scan the QR code now for tickets to the epic clash at the castle.
Wesley just keeps getting better and better each and every day. This kid impresses me.
Watch me turn my disadvantages to my advantage.
I'm gonna leave every bit of myself out there on that canvas.
And when the people chant my name, I feel I can overcome anything and anyone.
Watch me go again.
Wesley is champion!
This tag team competitor was never supposed to hold singles gold. Yet
I'm the new standard as the NXT North American champion, and I will risk everything to keep it.
There is a fire raging in the belly of Wesley.
If you are in my way, I am going around, through, or over you.
Wesley serves up his brand of justice.
I'm at the top of my game.
I was determined that more meant truly solidifying my legacy. But in the process, I spread myself too thin, and it came at a cost.
All of you cheered and gave me the strength to do things that I never imagined I could. That support won't eliminate the excruciating pain. It's gonna take surgery and time.
I may have flown too close to the sun, but I still rose from the ashes.
He's here! Wesley's back! Wesley eyeing up the champ!
The king of the West Side has returned to NXT. Now, it's time to get back to work.
Oba. A name given to rulers who possess immense and undeniable power.
Give it up for Obafemi.
The eyes of one of the most fearful men in all of NXT.
I come from the beautiful country of Nigeria, the heartbeat of Africa. 230 million people built on a culture where strength is not revered, but expected. And I stand head and shoulders above the rest.
6'6", over 300 pounds. Could Obafemi be the men's breakout tournament champion?
Obafemi will be the giant of NXT.
Obafemi, the men's breakout tournament winner.
This guy is ready yesterday.
Obafemi is executing his breakout tournament contract.
Oh my God!
Titles on the line. Obafemi has shocked us all. From breakout star to North American champion.
He's a big, big problem for the entirety of WWE.
I am the ruler, the destroyer, the bringer of war. I am the mountain that you cannot climb.
So who can step up and take down the North American champion?
This title stays with me.
Oh my God, she's here and she looks phenomenal. The host of NXT Battleground, Sexy Red. Look at all that money. Oh my God, she's trying to see what's up. Ski, yay! And this is what's up tonight for the NXT Women's Championship. Roxanne Perez defends against TNA Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace in the match that has the entire wrestling world talking.
I am a two-time NXT Women's Champion. I should have been handed back my title when it was vacated, but no. I played by all the rules. I beat all the odds. I bested all the competition. That's why I'm back at the top, right where I belong.
You will be defending that women's championship against...
So why the hell am I in this position right now?
TNA Knockouts champion, Jordynne Grace!
You have built your name here in NXT the same as I have in TNA. Who do you think has built the stronger foundation?
I've been working towards this since I was 13 years old.
For over half my life, I've been busting my ass, and I have this to show for it.
TNA's got an absolute weapon!
I refuse to let this be taken from me from someone that doesn't even deserve to be here. Be here, be here.
When I made my impact at the Royal Rumble,
TNA Knockouts champion entering the Royal Rumble match!
I made it crystal clear
What a beast! Jeez!
that I do belong here.
Perhaps the most powerful woman to ever grace this business.
This woman has muscles in places you don't even have places.
Making history, just like I've always done in TNA. And now, guess what? I'm going to do it again against the face of the NXT Women's Division, Roxanne Perez.
The women's title will be on the line in NXT. Are we looking at a history maker, or can Roxanne Perez prove she's a prodigy?
Here's the thing about child prodigies. Eventually, they almost always burn themselves out.
I am the only one who has shown true commitment to this championship.
Fortunately for Roxanne, she doesn't have to worry about that because I'm going to stomp that flame out.
There's no way, no way, no way, no way. I'm letting this go.
The TNA Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace battles Roxanne Perez with the NXT title on the line. Now, Sam, you have been a fan for a long time. Look at you. You're beaming ear to ear.
You see this? Look, I can't believe this. It's happening.
Did you ever think that you
No.
would see the day that the TNA Knockouts champ battles for a title in WWE?
No, just the fact that you, Megan Moran, the beacon of professionalism, are saying that is blowing my mind as I stand here. This is history. This graphic is history. The match happening is history. We're already there. There's a reason why the entire internet is talking about this match. This is emergency podcast stuff. This match has created a whole new conversation of what's even possible. But what neither of the competitors in this match can do is let that narrative get ahead of them. Because for Jordynne Grace and for Roxanne Perez, this isn't about the bigger conversation. This isn't about what everybody's talking about. This isn't about other possibilities. This is about, for Jordynne Grace, walking out the NXT Women's Champion. And for Roxanne Perez, proving that where it says world champion around her waist, it's accurate.
Roxanne Perez is a prodigy. She has been working at this since she was 13 years old. 9 years of her life have been spent chasing the NXT Women's title. But something interesting was said in that video package by Jordynne Grace. She said oftentimes prodigies get burnt out. So Sam, I ask you, is Roxanne Perez burnt out?
Look at you with the hard-hitting questions on this countdown show. Look, that's a good question. And I thought it was interesting that Jordynne Grace brought that up, too, because it made me think. It made me think about Roxanne Perez's path. Fact is, she's already graduated out of that. She's transitioned out of that. If we were talking about the Roxanne Perez of old, maybe. But we're not talking about that Roxanne Perez anymore. We're not talking about the Roxanne Perez that's happy to be here. We're not talking about the Roxanne Perez that was, I can't believe it, it's really happening. This is somebody that's completely owned her own destiny. This is somebody that has decided to be who she is and to understand that she is the best at this. She's not in that headspace of being a prodigy anymore. She's not on her way. She's here. And I think Jordynne Grace may be trying to get in Roxanne's head when she says stuff like that.
Well, there is one thing for sure. We will have one new champion tonight, and that is the new NXT Women's North American Champion. They've endured a combine and a qualifying matchup to get to this point, but tonight, Michin and Lash Legend are looking to be crowned champion.
Oh, yeah.
The Bougie Bully just touched down in Las Vegas, honey. So come with me today as I vlog, have my little diaries. Look at me get ready. Ooh, I'm starting to look beat. It's giving face, okay? 10 out of 10. Lashes stay popping because you already know I'm the legend, okay? Don't get it twisted. Thank you. What makes today so special is this is the eve of the day that I make history at the UFC Apex, okay? Get a good look because your girl, ooh, look at me. I'm gonna be the champ, the North American Women's Champion. Okay, but here's the rest of the day. I look cute. I'm just in the mall balling, you know, swinging. I'm just minding my business, and then boom, look who it is. Yep, you know what? No, I'm not gonna do it. I need to go. I gotta focus. Ooh. And now I'm about to prepare to go eat at this nice restaurant down in Vegas. They had a nice fancy sink here. And here goes my appetizers and my salmon. And now I'm about to head back to the hotel, get a little workout in. Gotta get my mind back right. And, you know, get ready for the next day because Lash Legend, the Bougie Bully, will be your new NXT North American Champion.
It is Saturday morning. I am in LAX right now. No, it is not Vegas. Usually I would go and work out, get some rest my body, prepare my body, cryotherapy, massages, maybe a warm bath. But I got to do this appearance at IGN in LA today, so I landed in LA, and in a couple hours I'll be leaving for Vegas. Booked and busy, gotta stay busy. So here we are, tomorrow we got the ladder match. Let's get through this day. Finally made it to the hotel in Vegas. As you can see, it's been a crazy day, but we're here and I'm ready to make history tomorrow. I'll see you at Battleground. Good night.
For just about all of 2024, Obafemi has held the North American title. But tonight, Wes Lee and Joe Coffey look to end that reign. No champion's advantage in this triple threat matchup at Battleground tonight.
Gallus boys, the three of you were able to accomplish something no one has been able to do since I got to NXT. You beat me down, and you kept me down. But a good ruler is able to acknowledge when people perform feats of impressiveness. And what you guys did to me this past Tuesday was very impressive. It's something that most superstars can only dream of doing to me. But tonight, Joe, that will not be happening again. Which brings me to Wes, the greatest North American champion in NXT history. The only reason you are revered as the greatest is because you came before me. And now it's only a matter of time before my reign eclipses your reign as I continue it here in Vegas tonight. And speaking of Vegas, this is the city obsessed with gambling in an arena built by great fighters. But tonight, this is my house. And in this city, the house always wins.
Obafemi has been one of the most dominant champions that we've ever seen in NXT. Sam, he's defended that title in singles competition. We've seen him do it in a triple threat matchup. Now, why would anybody on earth believe that tonight would be any different?
I mean, you see that face? When that face is staring back at you, you are in trouble. It takes a special kind of person just to volunteer to be in the ring against somebody like Obafemi, but that's how powerful the allure of the North American Championship is. That's how much these NXT superstars want to be a champion. And to answer your question, what makes this different? I don't know, okay? Obafemi doesn't mind if he's taking on one person, doesn't mind if he's taking on two people, doesn't mind if the deck is stacked against him. The only thing that's different is time has passed. And the newness of Obafemi is starting to wear, meaning people may be able to start predicting his game. There's more tape study. There's more observation. If there are weaknesses to find, the longer you do this, the more likely it is that they'll be shown. And if there's even one weakness in that beast's game, and trust me, I haven't seen it, somebody like Joe Coffey is the type of person who will see it. The Gallus boys, they do their homework. The Gallus boys study. The Gallus boys take their shot when the best chance of victory is there. So if there is any shot of victory, then it could be a good night for Joe Coffey. And the other thing, you mentioned before, no champion's advantage in a triple threat, right? There's also no disqualification in a triple threat. Obafemi may not have just two opponents. He may have a lot more as long as the Gallus boys are around.
Well, one thing's for sure, Wes Lee will certainly have the crowd at his back. They were so excited to watch Wes Lee make his return. And Sam, one thing that always stands out about Wes Lee is he finds a way to win. But finding a way to win against any opponent is one thing. Finding a way to win against Obafemi is another.
It's going to be difficult. But this is the Cardiac Kid. This guy's all heart. This is what Wes Lee does. Wes Lee takes sentiment like that and somehow turns it into a W. Anybody else in Wes Lee's shoes, I would tell you, good point, Megan, the guy doesn't have a shot. And I've said it before about plenty of people, so you know I'm telling the truth. This time, I can't ever say that about Wes Lee. There's a reason why that dude has become the most inspirational figure in NXT. For some reason, us wrestling fans, we see something in him. He's living that dream that we all had, and he's figured out how to excel at it. Not many people can say that word, excel at it. Well, they can say it, they just can't do it. You can say it, anybody can say it.
A triple threat matchup for the North American Championship goes down tonight at NXT Battleground. We still have so much more to get to right here on Countdown to NXT Battleground. Coming up on the other side, we're going to preview the NXT Championship matchup along with the first ever NXT Women's North American title match.
Big show.
Tomorrow, tensions at an all-time high.
McIntyre from out of nowhere. Priest with a choke slam through the table.
Ahead of the World Heavyweight Championship match.
Damian Priest is a massive force to be reckoned with.
On the final Raw before Clash at the Castle. Raw tomorrow, 8/7 Central, only on USA.
When the chips are down, Drew McIntyre steps up and pushes forward. I've done some serious thinking. I'm not the same guy I was.
There's a saying in Scotland, what's for ye will no go by ye. What's meant to be will be.
I was the kid who said I'm going to be the first Scottish guy ever signed to the WWE, and I believed it that much.
Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Wales. McIntyre is back home in the United Kingdom.
The main event, the first UK stadium show in 30 years. The journey that led to this moment. The man that I've finally become.
You're gonna find out why they've called me the Chosen One, the Scottish Warrior.
Finally, Drew McIntyre fulfills his destiny.
McIntyre is WWE Champion!
The first Scottish WWE Champion in history.
Give it up for Drew McIntyre! First
Scottish World Champion.
WWE Superstar Drew McIntyre.
All I've ever done is try to give the fans what they want. Find myself looking back and asking, is the sacrifice worth it?
The 2024 Royal Rumble match, the main event at WrestleMania on the line. Punk eliminated McIntyre!
Of course, they all want to win, but there's only one superstar that needs to win. The savior of WrestleMania, Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre has a chance to become the self-proclaimed savior of WrestleMania. It'll be McIntyre and Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Claymore! McIntyre has won the World Heavyweight Championship! CM Punk loading up that brace and assaulting the champion. Oh my God! Senor Murray in the bank! Priestess has it in! South the heaven choke slam! Priestess won the world title!
Everything I did, you stole that from me, Priest. I'm coming for you. You're nothing but a transitional champion.
McIntyre is sending a message to anyone paying attention. All bets are off. He's finished playing nice.
Two things you should be avoiding, being in my prayers and fighting me one-on-one.
Individual event tickets for Friday Night SmackDown and Clash at the Castle at OVO Hydro in Glasgow, Scotland, coming this Friday and this Saturday are on sale now via Ticketmaster.com.uk. Going to be such an exciting weekend in Scotland. But the state-of-the-art UFC Apex is where the first ever NXT North American champion will be crowned tonight in a 6-woman ladder match. Kalani Jordan and Fallon Henry are former tag team partners, but that partnership is in the past as both women look to become champion tonight.
Hey guys, join me on my day before Battleground vlog. I'm so excited for this history-making weekend, but as you know, right when we stepped foot in Vegas, we had to hit the gym to make sure that I felt good mentally and physically, and guess what? You know your girl is ready for tomorrow. Right after I was done with my sweat session, I got ready and I wanted to explore the town and just see what the fabulous Las Vegas has to offer. I got to get some shopping done and just explore Las Vegas Boulevard. And here I'm honestly just in awe at the beauty of the hotels, especially the Paris one. And then as I kept exploring, I saw this cute door and was like, oh my gosh, I have to take pictures because if I don't capture the moment, then it didn't happen. Here I stopped for some gelato because it was 107 degrees out. As I was wrapping up my evening, I started to manifest on what tomorrow was going to bring. It's my first ladder match. I have the chance to make history, and I truly believe that I will. But also, I'm aware that I'm going in as the underdog, but there's so much beauty in that, and I can't wait to use that as fuel to overcome and just to inspire those that if you believe it, you can achieve it. I'm so pumped for tomorrow, and here's a little sneak peek of my gear because, ladies and gentlemen, the stand-up has arrived in Las Vegas.
Sunday, June 9th will be one of the biggest matches of my career. This isn't just about becoming a champion. This is about making history by becoming the first ever NXT Women's North American champ. These are the moments that I have been preparing for. And there's no more distractions, no one to take care of, no one to worry about except for myself. Because I am done wasting my time on others. Because where did that ever get me? Missed opportunities, taking losses, having everyone else's back for no one to have mine. I just can't do it anymore. I won't do it anymore. This time, things are different. This time, things will be better. Because this time, Fallon comes first.
Just minutes from now, what you did yesterday won't matter because the only Instagram reel people will be paying attention to is which of these superstars is holding up the first ever North American Women's Championship for NXT.
Sam, there's not often an opportunity here in WWE, here in this business, that you have the chance to be the first to do just about anything. These 6 women have the opportunity of a lifetime to have their name etched in the history books forever, and you can't take lightly those opportunities that don't come by very often in this business.
Not only not come by, this is never going to come by again.
Never.
For this specific opportunity, this is the first time, only time, that we will crown the inaugural NXT Women's North American Champion. And you know, fans have been waiting for there to be another women's championship for years at this point. I get the emails all the time. The women's roster, especially in NXT, has become so loaded that it's a requirement. What we don't know yet is who is the woman to represent that title for the first time.
Well, Sam, in order to narrow down this field to 6 women, they endured an NXT combine and then a qualifying matchup. And Sol Ruca scored higher than anybody in that NXT combine. How much will her athleticism play a role in today's ladder match?
In a 6-woman ladder match, I would say it would be huge. I mean, you saw the Instagram reel. She's more athletic getting into bed than I am doing anything. I think that Sol Ruca is one to watch because she's one that, like you said, her athleticism keeps getting talked about. But on Wikipedia, there's a column, and it says championships won. Right now, it's empty for her. Let's see if we can fill it up.
All right, it is now time to welcome on NXT's general manager, Ava. Ava, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Ava, I think it may be an understatement to say that you have a lot on your plate right now. So how are you feeling ahead of this historic day at NXT Battleground?
I mean, I think that historic is the perfect word. Yes, you're absolutely right. There is a lot on my plate right now, but it is all really great stuff. I mean, there's going to be so much history made tonight, and I really just can't wait to see it all, between the women's ladder match to the underground match to Ethan Page having his first match in this company as a title match. It's going to be a huge day.
Well, Ava, you mentioned the first ever NXT Women's North American Champion, and you made the announcement that there would be that title at the biggest premium live event in NXT history, Stand and Deliver. And ever since then, these women have shown up and shown out. You yourself have referred to this as the best women's division in all of wrestling. What has impressed you about the way that everyone has stepped up since you made your announcement at Stand and Deliver?
I mean, I remember when I announced the new women's title, I said that our women were absolutely the backbone of NXT, and I still stand behind that statement. I mean, all the women that participated in the Combine absolutely showed out, did their best, and now that has translated to this ladder match, and all the women participating in this match are such incredible, incredible athletes, and I cannot wait to see what they do and who will become the first ever women's NXT North American champion.
Ava, for the first time in NXT history, an underground match will happen on a premium live event between Shayna Baszler and Lola Vice. I can't think of a more perfect setting for this matchup in a building that was designed specifically for fighting. What have you noticed about Shayna and Lola since you're down in the Apex?
I mean, both of them are 100% ready for this. I know that this is both of their backgrounds and something that they are still very, very passionate about. And I think that they are both such incredible athletes. I'm so excited for them, and I can't wait to see them showcase their skills here at the UFC Apex. I feel like, honestly, they definitely seem like they're right at home and they're ready to kick ass.
Well, Ava, you talked about the main event as well when you were talking about history-making matches. Of course, we're talking about Trick Williams and All Ego Ethan Page. It seemed like this was a main event that you didn't necessarily want to make, but were put in a position to make. Now that we're on the day, how do you feel going in?
I mean, I won't lie to you, Ethan Page, he was a tough hire. I mean, the negotiations and the deals that he had on the table were crazy, but ultimately, Ethan Page is a phenomenal athlete, and I am very glad that he's here tonight, and I'm excited for him and Trick's match, but ultimately, Trick Williams, I feel like he just embodies what the heart and soul of NXT is, and I'm so excited for both of those competitors to bring their absolute best tonight in our main event.
It looked, from a fan perspective watching along, it looked like it was an extremely difficult contract negotiation. Have you thought about what your life as GM would look like if All Ego was your champion?
I mean, honestly, like Megan mentioned in the beginning, I have been very busy today. I've been all over the place. So I'm not sure if I've given that a whole lot of thought, but I mean, it's certainly a possibility. Anything could happen tonight at Battleground, so who knows?
Ava, thank you so much for your time today. Best of luck with everything down at the UFC Apex for NXT Battleground.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
Less than 2 weeks ago, Ethan Page shocked the world when he showed up on NXT. Is he ready to end the Whoop That era in his NXT debut? It's Page versus Williams for the NXT Championship.
I talked about this. I dreamt about this. We all wanted this. Trick Williams is your NXT champion.
I've been fighting for this, and I come from fighters. My mama's fighting right now. She's in the hospital.
I need you to whoop that Trick.
People want to see you succeed. People want to see you do your thing, and I got to put the brand on my back.
We entering a new era. I think we're going to call this era the Whoop That era. We will continue to break records, and we will continue to make history.
Yeah, young Trick Williams. He has the biggest spotlight shining on him. And if there's anyone in my world that deserves the spotlight, it's me, Ethan Page. Of course, there was gonna be others trying to get their spot in line, and I don't like waiting. So I cut the line.
Whoop that Trick? Yeah, I'm about to.
Here's the one that everybody's chanting for, talking about, absolutely loves. That's the person that everyone's paying attention to. So Trick was the perfect person to get Ethan Page all the attention in the world. And you saw all the attention I got.
Oh my God! All Ego Ethan Page is in NXT!
Everybody talking and asking, who is this guy? Where is he from? Does he work here? That's my job, is to get people talking. And I think I did a great job at it. Because Ethan Page gets what he wants.
Ava, please give this man Ethan Page whatever it is that he wants. So Trick Williams and every other person in this building can get exactly what we want, and that's for me to whoop your ass.
With that title comes that giant-ass target on your back. Ava, I think I'm ready to sign that contract. She's giving me my first match in this company this Sunday at Battleground for this NXT title.
All bets are off. The grounds for battle have certainly been laid down. Whose ego is gonna be bruised in Vegas?
It is so perfect and poetic that my first match is for the NXT title. And everyone will remember Ethan Page as the one that brought the abrupt end to the Whoop That era. So at NXT Battleground, that NXT Championship, it's going home with Ethan Page. So Trick, I hope you're all in, because Ethan Page is all ego.
I want to take you back to what went down as NXT went off the air on Tuesday night. That's Oro Mensah of Meta-Four. Remember, Ethan Page was the perpetrator of the attacks on Meta-Four, Sam.
Yeah, he took ownership of it, and sometimes you might not want to do that because the book says that we may be through with the past, but the past ain't through with us, and Ethan Page is learning that the hard way. His first day on the job, he gets attacked, and then a couple of days later, he's trying to get into his hotel, harassed by NXT paparazzi, and boom, Oro Mensah shows up again.
Yeah, Ethan Page already has a long list of enemies, mainly Meta-Four, but he's just arrived in NXT already, a target on his back. And as we all know, we are in a new era here in WWE, but in NXT, it is the Whoop That era. Sam, I'm not so sure that Trick Williams knew that Ethan Page was going to be a part of this Whoop That era.
How could he have known? Trick Williams has had all of what? 10, 11 days, maybe less than 2 weeks to even fathom that this could be a possible opponent at Battleground. And Ethan Page has walked in. Nobody even knew he was considering working in NXT, and he's found his way to the main event of Battleground. If you just look at the tape and see what's happened over the past 2 weeks, Trick Williams has fallen right into the trap set by all ego Ethan Page that has given Page what he's wanted this whole time, the spotlight.
When Ethan Page was on NXT signing that contract on Tuesday, he did say that he and Trick Williams are more similar than you think. Sam is someone who knows all ego better than just about anybody. What do you think are the similarities between Trick Williams and Ethan Page?
Well, I don't know if I know him better than anybody, but I know him well. And I've been watching him for many, many years. He's been on the podcast. He's incredible. The similarity that I see, and I think what Ethan Page was trying to put forward, is the fact that all ego is no stranger to being put into groups and having to fight for that spotlight the way Trick Williams had to do not too long ago. The difference is that all ego Ethan Page has put years into this, years into getting here, fine-tuning everything that makes Ethan Page, and getting himself to a position where he can waltz in to Orlando, Florida, and book a ticket to Las Vegas and say, I'd like the main event, please. That's something that's rare air in this world of professional wrestling.
But at the same time, Trick Williams is the one who told Ava, sign that contract, I want that match. He's not backing down from the challenge that is all ego Ethan Page, and he looks confident.
He looks very confident, but it's hard for Trick Williams not to look confident. If you look like Trick Williams, you'd probably look confident too. I do not. That's why I never do. But Ethan Page is gambling. We're in Vegas. He's rolling the dice. He's gotten Trick Williams to an emotional place. So what happens when Trick Williams gets emotional? Does he lose sight? Does he take his eye off the prize? Or does he get angry and more dangerous? We find out in the main event.
Will the Whoop That era continue as Trick
hope so.
Williams defends his title against all ego Ethan Page? So much action coming your way tonight at NXT Battleground. So many stars on this show, including the host of NXT Battleground, the hit, drop, and show, stop, and chain wearing Sexy Red is there and ready to rock as your host.
And this is one of the many matches that has gotten the entire world talking. We never thought we'd see it. The TNA Knockouts champion comes to NXT to take on the NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez in the UFC Apex.
Well, all ego had some demands in his contract, but he got them all answered, including this matchup against the NXT champion, Trick Williams. Will the Whoop That era continue, or will we be looking at a world where all ego is your champ?
And what is the future for Nathan Frazier and Axiom? Will the attack stop, or will they retain the NXT Tag Team Championship tonight? They square off against one of the most decorated tag teams in the world, the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows.
Ova Femi has been one of the most dominant champions that we've seen, but the Cardiac Kid, Wes Lee, wants his title back, and Joe Coffey and Gallus came for gold. It's a triple threat matchup for the NXT North American Championship tonight.
What happens when the NXT Underground heads to the UFC Apex? Will there be napping, cracking, snapping? Either way, it goes down when Shayna Baszler takes on Lola Vice.
Tonight is all about history, and this matchup defines that best. It's the inaugural NXT Women's North American Championship ladder match. 6 women with a dream and the hopes of making history, but only one will climb that ladder to become your new champion.
I can't wait for that one. Yes. I can't wait for that one because of the dynamics of the participants in that. We haven't talked about all of them enough, but when you look at Fallon Henley and the way Fallon Henley has changed over the last several months, zeroing in that focus on actually winning. When you look at Lash Legend, who just walking around Las Vegas looked like a superstar, but maybe the most improved superstar in the entire women's division over the course of the last year or so. This match is going to make history, and I can't wait to see who makes it.
And don't forget, Lash Legend said that she'd be willing to risk it all. We saw her interaction with Trick Williams. Lash Legend is locked in, focused, and she wants to become the champion.
She's got a tough ladder to climb to get there. I can't wait to see what the UFC Apex looks like. We're about to see it. Megan, we're gonna see it. Battleground is starting live from the UFC Apex in Vegas.
Tonight, for the first time ever, NXT comes to UFC's Apex Arena with NXT Battleground and special guest host, Sexy Red.
Drum roll, please.
The main event matches